All right then. So now what we are going to do is we are going to discuss about the looping statements. So basically we are going to discuss about the looping statements over here. So you need to understand what are the different types of loops that we do have. So basically in a loop we do have two levels, two types of loops. One is the entry check and another one is exit check. This is the general category. In each of this category, so entry check is going to be for and while loop, and the exit check this is going to be your do while loop, right? So you need to understand here, entry check loop will always checks the condition first, check the condition and execute the loop only if the condition satisfied, only if the condition is satisfied, otherwise it will not going to execute your loop. But here this will execute the statements, it will execute the looping statements and then verify the condition. So there is a possibility even if your condition get failed, the statement will be executed at least once. That is the problem with the exit check loop. But entry check loop, it will check a condition only if the given condition is validated, then it will execute the given statements, right? So let's talk about the stages. What are the different types of stages that it will undergoes during this thing? So when it comes to entry check loop will goes on four different stages. One, initialization. The first stage is going to be the initialization, and the second stage, which is going to be the condition, it will verify the condition, and only if the condition is true, then it will go for the third, which is going to be your looping statements. Whatever the things that you wish to do inside that loop, you should perform it. And at the end, it will go for either increment or decrement. We already know that what's the difference between the increment and decrement, right? So it will start with the value, whatever the value which I try to initialize, which I given value, and it will check that value with the given condition. If that value satisfies the given condition, third and fourth stages will be pursued, otherwise the loop will be terminated, right? This will goes for both for and while loop. Now if on the other hand, if you're working with the exit check loop, so the first stage will, as usual, it's going to be the initialization, no changes in that. But here the second stage is going to be your statements, looping statement. And the third stage, which is going to be your increment or decrement. And fourth stage is going to be your conditional statement, right? So this is the, you can see what's the order of the entry and exit check loop, right? So I hope now you grab the point what I'm trying to say. Let's talk about the syntax over here. So now let's understand the syntax of the for loop. So for, I need to use the keyword, oops, not like that, for, and I need to supply the first stage, which is going to be the initialization, semicolon, then the second stage, which is going to be the condition, semicolon, and the third stage will comes inside the block of codes. This is going to be your fourth, which is going to be increment or decrement. So inside here only I need to bring the third stage, which is going to be your looping statements. Okay, all right. So this is the first stage. Second stage, if the condition is true, it will performs this block of codes. Once the block of codes is completed, it will goes for increment or decrement. Then again it starts from the same initialization, condition and statement, increment or decrement. Until this condition is failed, the loop will be keep on executing. Let me give you a simple example over here. So for I equals to 0, so I initialize the value of I as 0. Okay, for int I equals to 0, then I'm trying to check the condition I less than 5, then I plus plus, open it, then I'm just going to say I need to print the I. So let's use the system.out.print the I value. Okay, this is the I value it's going to be. Every time it should be printed in a new line, so print ln. All right. So here you need to understand that what is the initialized value at the very first starting point. The very first starting point I value is going to be 0. What is the given condition? I less than 5. So according to the given value of I. So 0 less than 5, that is the condition, right? So condition will become satisfied. Then what is the statement that is trying to do? It's trying to print the value of I. What is the current value of I? 0. Then it will go for increment I plus plus. So it should be 0 plus plus will become as 1. Now it will try to reinitialize the updated value with the I. Then it will undergoes the same process. 1 less than 5, condition will become true. I value, current I value is 1. Then it will go for I plus plus. That means 1 plus plus will become 2. So this will repeat the same stuff. It will go for I is equal to 2 and I is equals to 3 and I is equals to 4, and finally it will comes as I value as 5. Then I less than 5 is the given condition, right? At this point I value will become 5. So 5 less than 5 condition is false. So the loops gets terminated. So at the end we will have the value as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So that will be the expected output. So you should keep these stages in this mind, right? These stages. Now let's understand the while loop. This is the for loop. Let's try to use the while loop. So while, open it, you need to supply the condition, then you need to supply the looping statements. So according to the syntax, this is all the while loop it's needed. You need to supply the condition and the block of codes. So what are the stages that is missing? So initialize stage is missing and increment or decrement stage is missing. Comparatively, when you compare the while loop with the for loop, while loop is the most dangerous loop when you're comparing, when you're working with, right? The reason is because it is if you fail to give the increment or decrement, it will keeps on check the same condition again and again, and it will become an infinite loop. So it will run until your systems or RAM will overflow, then the software crashes and your system crashes, then the program will stop, right? So whenever you're working with the while loop, you should be very careful. So according to the given syntax, so let's try to, first I need to initialize the value, which I finished it over here, while I less than 5, that's the condition, open it. Then I need to print the value, which we are trying to do it just like the same way over here. Then what's the last stage? I plus plus. So think about it. If I fail to do it, I value is 0, 0 less than 5, then it will check this. If this value is not here, what happened? It will keep on repeat the same stuff. I value, there is no possibility of the I value increased from 0 to 1 to, there is no possible way to increase its value. So I value will remains on 0 itself. So every time whenever it checks the condition, I value will remains the same. So it will constantly print the 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 until it crashes. So once you finish your statements, whenever you're finished your looping statement, at the end, you should do either increment or decrement. So you should make sure that there is a possibility of finishing that condition at the end, right? So these are the things. Now let's try to run the same program over here. Okay, this is the while loop, and the syntax of the do while, which is quite exactly opposite here. First we need to do the looping statements, we need to perform it, then we need to check the condition. While, you need to supply the condition and semicolon. So here, just like the same way, I value should be 0, initialization is done. Then we need to do what we need to do, we need to print it. That's the statement that we are trying to do. Then we are performing the increment or decrement, and at the end I'm checking the condition while I less than 5. Okay, so I value will be 0, value will becomes printed as a 0, I became as 1, 1 less than 5, condition true, then it will repeat the same step again and again until the condition fails. So if the given value at the very first point itself, if it is wrong, even if it is wrong, at least one time your statement will be executed, right? So let's try to run this program so you understand the differentiation. So I'm going to create a new file over here called looping.java. Okay, and inside here, let's say public static void main, open it, string arg arguments, array arguments. Inside here, let's bring the scanner class. Sc is equals to new scanner. I think scanner is not necessary, so let me remove that scanner. Okay, I'm just going to straight away start writing the for loop. So for int I is equals to 0, I less than 5, and I plus plus. Open it. Then here let's use the system dot out dot println. Let's print the I value. So this is the for loop. So then let's write before here. Let's say system dot out dot print ln. Open here. I'm just going to say a string. Let's say for loop, and straight away after finishing here, I'm going to use an empty string ln function to print an empty line. Okay, so now let's open up the terminal. Let me get back to the root folder, and I'm just going to compile that folder inside java c-d basics, and here I'm just going to compile the looping.java. Then I need to move into the basics folder. Then I need to run the java looping. Here we go. You can see it's printing the value 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the exactly the expected output. It should start from 0 and it should go less than 5 values. That is what we got. Let's try to do the same stuff with the for loop. Sorry, the while loop. Instead of for loop, I'm going to change this to while loop. And instead of for loop over here, I'm going to reinitialize the value. So int I is equals to 0, right? Then I'm going to start the while loop. The stage 1 is completed, and the stage 2 is going to be I less than 5. That's the given condition. Then I need to print the value over here. Then I need to give the increment or decrement value. That is highly important. Now save these changes. You will get the exact same output as we expected. CD basics, Java looping. See, for loop and while loop. So now if I fail to do this, if I'm not giving this, let me comment this line. So this line will not get executed. So now let me clear it and let me get back to the, so let me open up a new program, new terminal. So I'm going to bring one more terminal side by side, and here I'm going to be inside the basics folder because I don't want to move back and forth again and again. I'm just going to say java c. Let's run the java c-d looping.java. So it's going to compile and bring the updated input. Then I'm just going to say java looping, right? See, it's constantly printing the value 0, 0 because for the while loop, there is no possible way to get incremented. So in that case, I need to forcefully crash or close the application, and then I need to run it. That's the reason you should increment the value every single time. So now let me compile it and let me re-execute it. You should be able to see that output. So let's do the same stuff for the do while loop. So this is going to be do while loop. I is already initialized, so don't worry about it. So this point, what we are going to do is, this is supposed to be inside this, like this should be do, and I need to check the condition at the end, I less than 5, semicolon. Save these changes, and this will also gives you the exact same output, no changes in that. See? But let me check it out over here. What happens if I initialize the value as 5? We know that 5 is not less than 5. The condition is false at the very first step itself. But at least one time your statement will get executed. Look at it over here. See? We know that 5 is not less than 5. But the statement got executed at least once. That's the problem with the do while. Even if your given condition fails at the very first step itself, the do while statement will execute the statements, right? The reason is because it's always checking the given condition at the end. That's the problem with the do while loop. So I hope you understand how to work with the basics loopings and all those stages and everything. So now this is the time for practice, right? So let's write some real program over here. Right? What I'm trying to do over here is I'm trying to write a program to find the sum of given natural numbers. So what is the first five natural numbers, right? We all know that natural numbers will always start from the number 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the first five natural numbers. What is the sum of this? So the sum of the given first five natural number is 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 3, 6, 6 plus 4, 10, 10 plus 5, 15. So we need to write a program to achieve this. But we should not calculate for the very first five numbers. We should write a program. That program should ready to listen to any specific given natural numbers, and it should find the sum of it natural given number, right? So in order to do that, I'm going to get the scanner class because we are trying to read an input from the user. Sc is equals to new scanner and supply the system.in inside semicolon. Now I'm just going to say system.out.print, enter the number and semicolon at the end. I'm going to define int number is equals to sc.nextInt semicolon. All right. So let's bring all these things inside like that. Then here I'm just going to start a loop. So for int I equals to 1, because we know that natural numbers will always start from 1. I less than or equal to show that number, because if the number is given as 5, we need to check the condition until that 5. So less than equals to that number. Then I plus plus. So here now what I'm going to do is I'm going to above top of this loop, I'm going to define int sum and I'm going to assign the value as 0 to it. So then every time whenever the I gets updated, I'm going to add that I value with the sum. So sum plus equals to I, which is similar to sum equals to sum plus I. Either you can write this value sum equals to sum plus I, or you can directly write it like this. So after this, I'm going to print the value system.out.print ln. I'm just going to say the sum of, over here I need to print that natural number, so plus, and here I'm just going to say number is, so sum of the 5 natural number is equals to, I need to bring that result over here, which is inside the sum. Save the changes, and right after the end I need to print the object of that scanner class. So sc.close, which is close that object. Now let's open up the terminal and let me clear this terminal, and let me clear this terminal too. Let me recompile this program and let me run that program. It's asking me to provide the number. If I supply the number as 5, the sum of 5 natural number is 15. Let me rerun it. If I supply the number as 10, so the sum of 10 natural number is 55. So this is how you need to write the program to find the sum of natural numbers. So what you have to do is you have to try to use the same logic, but you need to write by using while loop, and you need to try the same program by using the do while loop. Anyways, I'm having some practice questions for you to do with this, right? But you have to try to do to write the same program by using the while loop and do while. So pause the video and try that. After that, come and try this question over here. Okay, so let me bring the question for this. So what you have to do is you have to develop a program to print the multiplication table. Sorry, you have to develop a program that takes an integer from the user and prints the multiplication table up to 10. From 1 to 10, you need to print the multiplication table using the for loop. Whatever the number I supplies, you should get it and you should print the multiplication table for that specific number, right? So what you have to do is you have to pause the video and try to write the logic. You can use the for loop. Just write the logic for loop and then try to bring the answer for this specific program, right? So pause the video and try to bring the output. All right. So This is the output of that specific program. So first you need to create the scanner instance. You need to read the integer from the user. So after that, I'm not going to use the scanner. So let's close the scanner object, and I need to print the multiplication table, right? So I'm just going to say multiplication table for the given number below it. So here I'm going to start the loop from 1, and I'm going to until the end the loop from by the 10. So we just hard coded it. That's fine. Start it with 1, finish it with 10, then I plus plus. So every time what I'm trying to do, I'm just trying to print the number. So the expected output should be like this. So what is the given number? Is, let's say if the given number is 2. So 2 plus, so over here 2, and this symbol will be printed. What is the current I value? 1 is equals to, so number of 2 into I, what is the answer? 2. Then right away after that, 2 star 2 is equals to 4. Then 2 star 3 is equals to 6. So this will be your expected output. Since we are using println, it will automatically goes to the next line, so you don't have to worry about it. So there are lots and lots of examples out there, so you should take your some quality time and do some research about the looping statements, examples and everything. You should practice quite lots and lots of examples by using those looping statements, because this thing is really important, right? I provided you a very simple example with a simple definitions, so that is helps you to understand the syntax of the looping statement, but it is not really enough. You should spend some quality time to find some importance of great complex questions, and you should practice it more with more complex questions. So open up your browser and search for some complex questions along and find out the solutions and try to solve that looping statements. Take the notebook and write the stages, break the loops, so you can understand how exactly it's working. All right, so I hope you understand the looping statements and the entire control flow statements. So next, let's move on to the next concept.